Alright, so we all know Reese for being incredibly stupid, for lack of a better term. Of all 5 brothers, we constantly see Reese as the most challenged among them. However, today, I would like to highlight the one moment where Reese stood above all and managed to outsmart the smartest guy in the show, his brother Malcolm, and even his genius friend Stevie. This episode stands as a big contrast to what usually happens, as we generally see Malcolm being the one using his smarts to get what he wants. Seeing the underdog, Reese, outsmart both him and Stevie truly makes this one of my favorite episodes of all time, and that episode is Season 5, Episode 19, Experiment. In this episode, we have a few different plots going on at the same time, as per usual. Lois forces Dewey to sell candy bars for his school fundraiser. Lois wants him to do this because they have already missed out on several other school events. Hal backs Lois in this as he is infatuated with the prize magazine and wants Dewey to sell the bars so he can get himself a pair of bouncy shoes. Meanwhile, Francis is busy raising a little piglet that was originally intended to be put down as it was the runt of the litter and wasn't able to feed. While that's all happening, Stevie and Malcolm are trying to create a restriction enzyme. Now, I'm not a science nerd or anything, so to explain this bluntly for myself and anyone else who doesn't really understand science, they have a vial with a certain chemical in it, and they are trying to get the 2 different parts of that liquid to separate. If they can successfully do this, then they will be awarded with their findings being published in a science magazine, and Malcolm also explains that this could even lead to the creation of a medicine that saves lives. It appears that Malcolm and Stevie have been at this for hours with no signs of progress as they begin yelling and getting frustrated with each other. Reese then enters the picture and learns about all of this. Now, normally we would expect Reese to either not give a damn about this at all, or even try to take steps to sabotage them for fun. This is usually what Reese does, which makes the following scene really impactful. Instead of Reese ignoring them or making fun of them, he actually offers to help. He doesn't demand anything in return, and he doesn't even have a foreseeable thing to gain by doing this, but he offers his hand anyways. Malcolm, however, does not take this nicely. He sarcastically claims that if they need someone to get their head stuck in a waste paper basket, they will give him a call. What follows is one of my favorite lines from Reese of all time.
Why do you do that? I offered to help you and you turn around and make it about me being stupid. Seriously, I might have something to contribute. Why don't you just give me a chance?
Reese is putting up a little bit of vulnerability and also calling out Malcolm here. Reese offers to help with the project for nothing in return, and Malcolm uses this opportunity to turn around and make a malice remark at his intelligence. I just love this moment because it really puts more soul into Reese's character rather than the reckless imbecile that he is normally known for. However, Malcolm still doesn't really take Reese seriously, as the only way he lets him help is by giving them blood. Not only this, but they end up taking a lot more blood than they should have, leaving him feeling as if he's about to faint. Later, we cut back to Stevie and Malcolm still struggling to make the enzymes separate. At this point, they are still not taking Reese seriously as a functioning member of their team as it is revealed that Stevie even took more blood from Reese while he was sleeping. Malcolm isn't totally okay with this, but Stevie defends his actions, claiming that, quote, he wants to help. Malcolm then claims that he already had this covered, as he gave Reese a bunch of food coloring and told him they were chemicals. Reese then rushes in as he thinks he just made a groundbreaking discovery.
I've made a discovery. When you mix blue and yellow, you get an entirely new color. I'm gonna name it Blello.
After some more B-plot stuff of Dewey lying to people to sell more candy bars, we cut back to Malcolm and Stevie still struggling to make the enzymes separate. They are so desperate at this point that Malcolm even tries using mind control. While this is happening, Reese is chilling on his bed reading comics. Lois then barges into their room, demanding that Malcolm watch Jamie for a little bit while she leaves. We then cut to Stevie and Malcolm watching baby Jamie as they have attached a bunch of vials to him while he is bouncing in his baby chair. Still, no results. Malcolm and Stevie then return to their room, still frustrated as they have not gotten any closer to achieving their goal of making the enzymes separate. They then notice something over at their workstation. While they were gone, the enzymes separated. Initially, they are super excited. Both of them assume that the other did something to accomplish this, but they quickly find out that neither of them are responsible for this happening. They then pick up the vial to take a closer look and realize that there is some green food coloring liquid at the bottom of it. indicating that Reese did something to make the enzymes separate.
Blello.
Reese then comes in from the bathroom, not knowing what is going on. We then cut to Stevie and Malcolm trying to recreate whatever it is that Reese did. They continue to beg Reese for an explanation of what he did to accomplish this scientific breakthrough. Reese assumes at first that whatever he may have done was a bad thing, but Malcolm explains that he somehow managed to do the very thing that they have been trying to accomplish for hours now. As they continue to press Reese for an answer, this is the first time where we see Reese start to come out ahead. He explains that he could give them an explanation, but first, he makes Malcolm and Stevie give him part of the credit. And this is totally fair, by the way. Whether Reese intended this or not, whatever he did managed to accomplish exactly what Stevie and Malcolm have been trying to do this entire episode. Malcolm and Stevie are furious at this and threaten to tell on him. So, we then cut to Malcolm doing just that, as Malcolm is complaining to Lois that Reese is gatekeeping the solution to their project and won't tell them anything unless they promise to give him credit. To Malcolm's surprise, Lois ends up agreeing with Reese on this one, claiming that if he is the one who solved the problem, then he should get credit. Later, Malcolm and Stevie are still working on their project, trying to recreate whatever it is that Reese did to get the enzymes to separate. While they are trying and failing to do this, Reese is laying back, watching them struggle. They then promise Reese a full part of the credit if he tells them what he did. Reese, however, is smart here and is unwilling to just take them at their word. He then pulls out a written contract for Malcolm and Stevie to sign, stating that Reese is a full team member of this project and that they wouldn't have been able to do this without his help. Which, again, is 100% true. Whether Reese was trying to or not, his contribution did ultimately lead to the experiment being solved. Although they disagree with this, Stevie and Malcolm have no choice and ultimately decide to sign the contract.
Outwitted by a dumbass.
Reese casually folds it up and puts it in his pocket and then proceeds to tell Malcolm and Stevie that he actually has no idea how he accomplished this. He then goes on to brag that he now has written proof that he can use to say that he is just as smart as Malcolm and Stevie. Malcolm and Stevie respond in kind. Later, we cut to what can only be described as Malcolm and Stevie torturing Reese to try to get answers out of him. Malcolm still thinks that Reese is purposely hiding the solution from them and has a heart-to-heart with Reese, explaining that whatever he did was a good thing for medicine and could save lives one day, begging Reese to try and recollect his memory to find out what it is that he did. However, this ultimately leads to nothing, as Reese was not lying. He literally has no idea at all how he got the enzymes to separate, and he does not know how to help them. Stevie then gets the idea for Reese to play out everything he did while he was alone in the room to see if that can lead to an answer. Reese agrees and goes through a hilarious sequence of actions that he did while they were away. Also, just a fun side note, one of the things that Reese did while Malcolm and Stevie were away was playing with Dewey's Game Boy, as he has a hammer in his hand, hinting that he broke it. The next scene is Lois praising Dewey for successfully selling a ton of candy bars, not knowing that he did this by lying to his customers. However, every time I watch this episode, when they cut to this scene, I just feel bad for Dewey as he does not realize yet that his Game Boy was broken. I've recently been playing my Game Boy a lot, and I would be totally pissed if my brother randomly decided to break my Game Boy. We then cut back to Reese trying his best to recollect his actions that led to the separation of the enzymes. He explains that while they were gone, he tried to do his math homework but didn't understand any of it. We then see him going into the mirror, calling himself stupid and looking really distressed. It really looks like he forgot that Malcolm and Stevie were here, as we get a peek into Reese's personal psyche. This show has a few moments like this where it dives into Reese's personal problems with himself and his insecurities. Moments like this are rare in the show, but are super impactful for making the viewer relate to these characters and making them feel real. After Reese recollects the breakdown he had in the bathroom, he explains that all he did after that was lay on his bed and start bouncing a ball against the wall. As Reese demonstrates how he has been throwing the ball, Malcolm begins to speak in a manner that suggests that he's given up and that they will never find a solution to their project. As he is saying this, however, Stevie interrupts him and asks Reese to continue throwing the ball. Reese continues to throw the ball as Stevie notices something happening over at the test tubes. Reese has done it again. He recreated his accidental scientific breakthrough and the enzymes separated again. But how did he do it? Well, it turns out that as he was throwing the ball towards the ceiling, that was causing asbestos to fall into the test tubes. For those who don't know, asbestos is a chemical that is usually found in old houses, as they used to use this chemical for construction. However, the chemical is dangerous for humans to breathe in, which is why they no longer use this chemical nowadays. However, this chemical, according to Malcolm, is known to change the way cells reproduce, which explains how the asbestos accomplished what they have been trying to do this whole time. The asbestos is what caused the enzymes to separate. This is how Reese unknowingly fixed their project. The boys then all huddle up and begin celebrating that they have asbestos in their ceiling. However, the celebration is quickly halted when Stevie and Malcolm begin to realize what this actually means. As it is very unsafe to live in a house with asbestos, this means that their house now has to be completely rid of all of these chemicals before they can continue living in it. But either way, Reese came out on top. Reese got an entire portion of the reward and credit for solving this scientific mystery. What did they win exactly? Well, they won a pencil case. Malcolm describes that the company that hosted the contest maintains the patent rights for any discoveries that the boys made, and they will earn billions from it. Although the boys pulled out ahead and won the contest, they were left with nothing but a dinky little pencil case. But hey, it has a compass on it. So yeah, obviously the three boys were criminally undercompensated for their work, but to Reese, this is a massive dub. The payout for this episode is getting to see Reese, who is very proud of what he has done, continuing to ask Lois and Hal if they need a pencil. All in all, this is one of my favorite episodes as we get to see Reese pull out on top. Although the boys didn't win much from their contest, Reese got just as much as they did. Anyways, that's going to be it for today. YouTube thinks that you will enjoy this video here, so I highly recommend you go check it out. But anyways, thanks for watching, and be sure to like and subscribe, and be on the lookout for more Malcolm in the Middle videos in the future.